So yeah, we're in the Blizzard Activision booth now with most people will acknowledge you. It's Tom Chilton and Chris Metzen for right.
Chris Robinson.
Oh, I'm sorry. And Chris Robinson for World of Warcraft. Um, Yesterday there was a press conference where you already gave some details on patch 4.3.
Right.
I would like to go a little bit into detail with the transmogrifier.
Absolutely.
You said that the feature is going to be that you will be able to adapt your current items you wear with the style you like. Is that correct?
Right. That's exactly right. Although you do have to own both of the items. So you'll have the item that has the stats that you want, and you've got the item that has the art that you like, and then you'll use the transmogrification to combine them into one.
But you need both of the items to be
That's
able to
correct.
do that. So in case I want to have like a Tier 1 set, I have to go to Molten Core, get it, and then transmogrify it?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Now, it's important to remember that they're not consumed. It simply applies that art onto the item with the stats that you like. So it's not like you have to farm it every single time you want to do that.
So just one time,
Just one
and,
time.
and put it in the void storage, is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Another thing with patch 4.3, you said that the Deathwing encounter is coming into play.
Right.
Is it going to be the only raid coming new into the game, or
It is not the only raid boss. There are going to be many raid bosses that lead up to Deathwing, and those take place in a variety of different environments for the new raid zone that we're creating. Deathwing's a little bit different in that the Deathwing fight takes place in multiple places. It has essentially multiple chapters, and even some of those chapters have multiple phases within them. So Deathwing's a much more extensive fight than anything we've ever done before.
so that means you have to go with your raid to different dungeons, whatever, to fight different phases of it?
You don't actually have to go into literally different instances, but there are different, completely different locations within the instance. So at one point, for example, you'll be fighting Deathwing at Wormrest Temple, and then the battle moves as you get onto his back and you're flying over the Maelstrom to fight him while on his back to try to bring him down to the ground.
Sounds very interesting. Another thing, I want to go a little bit away from patch 4.3. The real ID feature, the real ID party feature.
Right.
Like a lot of people thought it's going to be like premium based. You have to pay.
Right.
How come you decided not to do it on the premium thing?
Well, I mean, ultimately, I guess as much as possible, we like for our features to be accessible to everybody without any kind of additional charge. What we had originally thought was that the Real ID Party was just an extension of the paid character transfer that we already do. But it's clear that players view it as being a little bit different. I think some of that is because the in-game interface to be able to do it, and the transitory nature of it, where you'll party up with somebody from across the server, when you're friends, and then you'll ungroup, and then you'll do something with your guild separately. And because of that transitory nature, it feels weird to have to pay for a service.
So right now it's like limited to like 5-man parties. Is there like a chance there's going to be like a real party raid? Like,
Right.
is that?
Our first plan is to extend it to the random battlegrounds so that the players can do the normal, pick up group battlegrounds through the Real ID friend across servers. Once we've done that, then we'll consider extending it to potentially to raids, potentially to raided battlegrounds, that kind of thing. But that's still yet to be seen because there are some different complexities as it relates to raid locks and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, another question. With Diablo 3, there's going to be like a real money auction house, whatever you call it. A lot of people are really confused and a little bit like they don't understand why it's like a thing you shouldn't do,
Right,
but
right.
Blizzard is doing it. Is it like possible that there's going to be similar thing like a real money auction house in World of Warcraft? Are there any plans?
Right, we have no plans for that right now whatsoever. I mean, obviously we'll keep an eye on how things work out there, and if there are ways that it can apply that seem to feel right for WoW, then we would consider it. But there are definitely big differences between the games that make it work for Diablo 3, but a direct translation wouldn't work very well for World of Warcraft. For example, our item model is centered around bind on pickup, right? Mm-hmm. So when the best items in the game are bind on pickup because we require you to actually go and complete the content yourself to get the item. And so inherently, you already can't put that on the auction house, and we don't plan to change that. Mm-hmm. Then also, gold as a part of the economy in World of Warcraft is very important to us, and we feel like if we really had a strong real money transaction economy, that it would take away from the importance of gold. And that's not something that we want to do in a way to change WoW. So there are a lot of reasons why there are big differences between the games. So we don't really have any plans for it right now.
Okay. I guess one last question, then we have the other guys. With Cataclysm, you changed the ID for raids. Like you can only do once, like in 10-man version or 25-man version.
Right.
There was also a lot of confusion about that, and a lot of people who didn't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting a lot of feedback from players. How do you see that change? Is it something positive you want to stay with? Or
I'm actually very conflicted about that change. I mean, it certainly has had the positive effect of not feeling like you have to do two different sets of raids. There were a lot of players that felt like, well, if I want to be as competitive as possible, I've got to do my 25-person raids, then I've also got to do the 10-person raids, and it felt like players would burn out faster on the content because of that. The downside, though, is that at the same time, it gave people something else to do during the week. And a lot of people, they would do their 25-person raid, and it's like, oh, well, now I'm going to gear up my alt, and so I'll take my alt through a more casual 10-person raid. Yeah. But then on the flip side, one of the cool aspects of it is that it means that we were able to set the item level to be the same between 10 and 25 person. And that was actually a very important goal for us to reach. So I think that going forward, we'll probably make some changes to the way that we do that, and try to kind of better satisfy all the parties involved. But I'm definitely, I wouldn't say that we got it perfectly yet.
Okay, so it's still into development.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the interview.
Right on.
And
thank you.
Have a great time in Germany.
All right.
Thank you.